honest to God, I'm just sick of the lot of them. Absolutely sick of the lot of them. So the conversation is all about Angela Rayner, and it's all about whether she did or didn't know that she was dodging tax. We're not going to know the answers to that for a little while. But what it does do is uncover layers of hypocrisy on other subjects, on different areas, because we're starting to find out more about Angela Rayner now, more about her history, more about her past. Her poor son has been dragged into this, which must just be hell for any 17-year-old. I mean, my 17-year-old doesn't really like this very much because you want to go under the radar at 17, yet poor Angela Rayner's son is now front and foremost, and because he's got a disability. And this is where the hypocrisy really kicks in. This is where we start to see all manners of different lights being shed on certain key members of the front bench. So Angela Rayner she sued the NHS because of something that happened in her son's past. We don't know what it is. Let's just know that she sued the NHS, which is where the trust fund came from. And we know that her son has a visual impairment. He has a disability. Now, Angela has said, my kids are teenagers. I have one who has visual impairment. He's 17. I don't want him to be written off. I want him to have an opportunity to go and get the skills in life. I don't want him to be written off and told you're on benefits for the rest of your life. He wants an opportunity as well. Here. Absolutely, Ange. I am 100% with you. None of us want our children written off. So all of us, particularly those of us who have children with special educational needs or disabilities, we fight like mad so that our children get what they need to be able to have the lives that they want. So we fight in any way we can. Now for you, Ange, it was suing the NHS. For me, it's fighting VAT on education. And this is where the line is drawn, because this Angela supports. So she will support a policy that stops disabled children getting the opportunities in life that they want. How will it stop it? Well, it will stop the ones that are in independent education at the minute because their parents feel, like Ange felt, that their children deserve an opportunity to do the best they very can. We all accept that not everyone is able to do that, but we all accept that some parents are able to do that. And we all accept that for some parents, that is by not eating a meal or not having any new clothes or not having a car. We all accept that parents have made sacrifices for this to happen so that their child, like Angela's, won't be on benefits for the rest of their lives and they can have opportunities. That is why for so many families, independent schools are the only option. Special educational needs schools are the only option so that their child can have the ability to fulfill its full potential. Ange knows that because Ange sued the NHS. Ange wanted to make sure that her son got every opportunity possible so that he wasn't on benefits. We're all trying to do that. But what Ange also did, Ange supported a policy that meant tens of thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands of children don't get that opportunity because they're having to leave the very schools that support their special educational needs and disabilities and go into the state system, which doesn't. And that's not just my words, that's Bridget Phillipson's words. She is the Secretary of State for Education. She admits that the state system that she champions all the time does not have a robust and fit for purpose SEND system. So if that system doesn't exist, why is she forcing children into it? Well, Bridget Phillipson, Rachel Reeves, Angela Rayner, they are all supporting a policy that is taking children out of the environment that suits them and putting them into an environment that doesn't. So they are not getting the opportunities, like Angela said, that they should be getting. Now, there's been various tweets on social media bemoaning the fact that Angela's son has been brought into this and he is now subject to front page. I completely agree. And there's lots of people saying it's not fair on a disabled child to be treated this way. I completely agree. I remind you of all of the disabled children and non-disabled children who have been called scum by Angela Rayner because they were students of Eton. I also remind you of all of the children that have gone to schools that have been labelled CUNT factories by a certain person in the media. And that has been shared and posted. The posh twats, the posh tossers, the CUNTs, all of those, because Bridget Phillipson's rhetoric has divided class. And it's gone from being about children and it's gone from being to your background. And if you're a posh, then your child is Eton scum. And that is the Labour Party's rhetoric about children. Yet here we are. Some people are defending Angela Rayner's son's right to anonymity, which I wholeheartedly support, and many people are saying it is not fair because he's disabled that he should be subjected to this. I wholeheartedly agree. Yet here we are, the Labour Party, putting children in a position where they will be and are being subjected to that. And they are doing that by their very own minister's rhetoric about what independently educated children are. So Angela Rayner, who called children that went to Eton scum, which must have been really awkward when she met King Charles, who went to Eton, mustn't it? But no. We have one rule for one and one rule for another. Now, here's another thing. That is something that really gets under Angela Rayner's skin because she spent her entire time in opposition tweeting that that's what the Tories did. Her entire time was spent tweeting one rule for them, one rule for us. Look it up, Google it, search it. You can see it. It's there for everyone to see because what you put on social media stays on social media. Angie's learning the hard way. And then there's another interesting fact that's come out about this whole thing. And it talks about Angela's living arrangement. So she says she nested with her divorced husband. So that means that they shared, the children stayed in the house and the divorced parents spent equal time at the house or time at the house, but not together. So Angela might have been there on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and her ex-husband might have been there for the rest of the time. The children stay put, the parents come and go. That's called nesting. It works really well for some families, and all power to your elbow if it does. I think it's great to make sure that in any divorce, the children are kept front and central and stable. So that's what she said she did. However, she avoided capital gains tax on the right to buy property that she sold because she didn't live with her new husband or kids. Which one was it, Ange? Where were we? We're not living with our kids, but we are living with our kids because we're nesting. We're not living with our new husband, but we are living with our new husband. We're not living with our ex-husband, but we are living with our ex-husband. Now, there may be perfectly normal and rational and solid answers to all of this, but we're not hearing them, are we? We're not being told them yet. If it was the opposition, when it was the opposition, what was Angela Rayner doing? She was saying sack them now, get them out. And if Rishi Sunak or whoever the leader at the time was didn't, they're weak. Pick a lane, Ange, because you can't have it both ways. So here we are, we've got an entire front bench who are supporting Angela. They have full confidence in her. They think that what she did was right and above board and she's doing the proper thing by referring herself. Amazing. Well done, Ange. We're also saying, hang on a minute, we told Rishi Sunak that he should sack Nadeem Zahawi instantly. Oh. How? We're also bemoaning the fact that Angela's son has been brought into this. Well, Angela did that, and he's been brought into this because she's talked about it. And we're also ignoring the fact that Angela's son, who has special educational needs and disabilities and is having a level of empathy, we're ignoring the fact of the hundreds of thousands, and I think we're probably on about 115, 116,000 children that are being affected directly by VAT on education in some way, shape or form, whether that be that they've moved from the independent sector into the state sector, whether they're in the state sector and not getting the support that they need and they're being pushed down because the kids are coming in, or whether that means that they can't now go into the independent sector because their parents can't afford the fees plus VAT. So in some way, shape or form, and then let's talk about the families that are being affected by this because they no longer have jobs in the independent sector. There are other disabled children with parents just like Ange who are fighting for their every right in life. Yeah, Ange, she can do it for hers, but she can't do it for yours. And that is the cornerstone of this. That is where this is all going wrong. You can talk whatever you like about your numbers, your facts, your figures, your tax dodging, you're not tax dodging. I knew, I didn't know, I did whatever. I don't care. I care about the fact that you have one rule for Angela Rayner and one rule for the rest of us. One rule for Bridget Phillipson, one rule for the rest of us. One rule for Rachel Reeves, one rule for the rest of us. And whilst we're on it, on constituency homes, why doesn't somebody have a little look at Bridget Phillipson? Where does she live? Because it is not in her constituency. It is also a couple of 100 miles away. And have a look. Well, no, don't do that, actually. I'm not going to suggest you do that. But just have a look at where she lives. It's not just Ange that has a house miles away from her constituency. And I think if you were to go through that list, you'd find quite a lot of politicians do the same. So we either need an overhaul for everyone or no one. You decide. But the hypocrisy has to stop.